We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright where the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us break. What time you said coming over you. You wish it upon a star. You wish it on a star. You are, you are, you are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. Because I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all.
Good evening, welcome along to a pre-recorded NUFC Matters. It is Talk of the Toon, and it is welcome as always to Sid from Songs from the Attic. How are you, Sid?
Very good. Hello to everybody out there watching. Yeah, good. Not bad at all.
As always, halfway through the show, we'll be bringing in Rob to chat a bit of music and plenty to talk about there as well. But let's go back to last Tuesday first, Sid, and Newcastle United, first leg of the Carabao Cup away at Arsenal. A wonderful result, 2-0, comprehensive win. Arteta looking as sick as a chip, which is what we were hoping for. And Newcastle giving themselves a real opportunity to progress into another Carabao Cup final in the space of a couple of years.
Yep, magnificent. What a performance. What an absolute all-round performance of sheer brilliance. How masterclass, really, wasn't it? He was, well done to him, and I've criticised him over the year as well. Do so when I think somebody's not been perfect. And well done. Absolutely magnificent. I mean, the boys played superbly from back to front. It's hard to single out anybody who had a poor game. I thought they were all top draw. I mean, the midfield is just marvelous to see, isn't it? The three different skill sets that they've got. Tonali just covers everywhere. Beautiful passing as well. His range is great. He's really quick. He plays that 6 role so well. It's now allowing us to see the proper Bruno, as I would say, this guy who's able to do all these little flicks, see passes up front, create lots, and he's again tenacious in the tackling. And then obviously Big Joe, just a monster. I think it's the polite way of saying it. He's just brilliant. Ruffles feathers. Other teams don't like it. Other managers don't like him. But you know what? He's sensational. What a midfield three. We've got the best midfield in the country. We really have. So long may that happen. Everybody was great though. I mean, Murphy had another good game. Another assist. Probably should have had 2 assists, really. Let's be honest. And then also there was that beautiful slide rule pass that he did, which set up the second goal as well, with Isak and the keeper doing a good save. The keeper's excellent that they've got, by the way, the Arsenal keeper, possibly the best in the league. And it was a great save. And then Gordon, like all good attackers do, was prepared for that little chance, and he was way ahead of their defender. So, and I think I said last week, I think we've got 5 players who would make a combined 11 out of the Newcastle Arsenal. I think it's probably more than that. And I think as a front first 11, I'm not saying squad, first 11, our first 11, in my opinion, is better than Arsenal's. Obviously, Isak's a huge difference maker, and all that sickening annoyance of the continuous press references and all the rest of it, and is he allowed to score against his own team and all this garbage, absolute tripe. And they're still harping on about it the other day. So, this is Sky. Honestly, they've got a proper agenda by the way they go on in terms of the sounds of it. Certain players don't like to see the so-called Big Six being sort of disrupted, and by Newcastle, by Villa, other teams as well, like Brighton and so on and so forth. They don't like it. They don't like it because it sort of upsets the narrative. And as soon as a team seems to be doing well, they try and almost instigate in the back of a player's mind that there's better places to go. I'm telling you now, I don't think going to Arsenal is a step up. That's a sideways move at the minute for me. And as I said last week, if he wanted to go somewhere and he went to Real Madrid, fair enough. I can't argue with that, can you? But that's it. You maybe argue Bayern Munich. But that would literally be it for me. I don't think anywhere else is a step up. I just don't see it. And he tormented their defence. For a guy who can make Saliba and the other guy, I forgot the other guy's name now, also a good player, who can make their 2 centre-halves look poor, that speaks volumes. I mean, the fact he's able to stop, slow down, and then boom for pace, bit of pace, little trick, and he's past them, and you think, wow, that is sensational. He is by far the best striker we've had since Alan Shearer. And if I did an all-time 11 now, he makes it. He's knocked Sir Les off his perch. So I do apologise to Sir Les, but he does. His all-round game is magnificent. Of course, he's not as good as Les in the air, but in terms of his all-round play, it's just brilliant. He's able to create goals from nothing. For the first time since 1996, and we only had 1 year of it where Shearer was in his prime. I think we only had 1 year of Shearer in his prime. We've now got the best centre-forward in the world. That's the first time we can say that since 1996.
Wow, big claim. Arteta basically said it was all down to the football, though.
I love the Lego hair thing. It's great, isn't it?
Plastic and easy to dismantle. I did like that. But yeah, I mean, from my perspective, to hear him come out and not give Newcastle the praise they deserved, it was completely expected. And then to start complaining about the ball, the same ball that Arsenal have played with all the way through the competition. It was music that probably most Newcastle fans' ears, wasn't it? Sour grapes.
It was absolutely hilarious. They all had to shoot with the same thing, they all had to play with it, and that's just the way it is. Hard lines, just sort of, wait, man, seriously. We all had to play with the ball, and surely you know what the ball is in advance. Therefore, you spend 2-3 days, a week, whatever it may be, with that ball. Sure, that must be the way it goes at football clubs. I'd be amazed if it's not, because everything's down to the finest details. So yeah, we just tactically outdone them. We just did. I mean, my man of the match, by the way, for that game was Dan Burn, who I thought was unbelievable. As great as all the other players were, I thought he was just incredible. So I was talking about Bruno. I get mixed up there. Bruno didn't bloody play the other day, did he?
But, yeah, no, Bruno didn't play on the Tuesday.
So all the games are blurring up. So again, the fact that we were unable, we play without him, and this is one of the first times. I don't think it is the first time, but it's one of the first times that we've won without Bruno. Speaks volumes with regards to the team. I mean, I just think Tonali was great. I thought Joe Willett was all right. Just that he was probably the weakest player on the pitch.
Do you think that was more down to the fact that what we were talking about before the game was the unbalance in that midfield, and that maybe he was given strict instructions of what to do, and that's why Willett didn't appear to be as involved, because he was told, do this because we don't want to unsettle it. I think he was given certain instructions.
I'm not sure. I know Joe Litton looked like he had an instruction that was to mark out one of their players for the game, and he seemed to do that really, really well. So top draw. I'm not sure. If I'm being brutally honest, I'm not sure he's at that level as a midfielder. As I keep saying to you, I think he's an attacker. I think he's a number 10, but he's not going to get the opportunity at Newcastle to play that position. He's really not. So he was the only one. The rest were just superb. They really were. I mean, the defence was just brilliant. Absolutely top draw. We've done so well. Dubravka as well, of course. We all thought he was gone at the end of the game. We all thought he was gone, and surprised her. And he had a good game, did really well, did a couple of really good saves. I'll tell you what's not been mentioned on anything I've seen so far, how far he was punching the ball out. That was going quite a journey. We're talking 30-yard punches. That's quite impressive. So well done to him as well.
I mean, look, this whole Dubravka thing, and I mean, we'll come to the FA Cup in a moment, but this whole Dubravka thing really has been strange because the deal was done, we're led to believe. There's talks of, anything between £5 and £8 million fee, and that's going to be good for PSR. That's now developed in that. Well, I'm coming to that. That's now developed over the weekend, and there's no money available. He's going for free. Has Dubravka suddenly become such a great keeper? I mean, he's been at the club 8 years. He's been a good servant when he's been called upon. He wasn't great when he came in the last time Pope had a long-term injury. And Newcastle's, goalkeeping options, they've got a few. Let's say they've got a few. Certainly, we've got the Greek international goalkeeper who's not getting a look in. But the Dubravka situation, has he suddenly become, a great keeper? Or is it just the fact that, anybody who can potentially play in goal could probably play behind our team at the moment because, ultimately, the midfield, the front line and the back four are all firing on all cylinders. They're all playing well. They're all playing well as a team. And, when a team's playing that well in front of you, it's not the most difficult job to be in goal, I guess.
I think it's somewhere in the middle. So, for example, I think he was terrible last year. Let's be brutally honest about it. He was awful. I think he probably cost it's not a Champions League place, but he cost probably 8 to 10 points last year. I thought he was terrible. However, I do recall how saying that he was injured. He was playing with an injury last year, and I think he's been markedly improved this year. Is he the answer long term? No. But what we've seen is a player who can play with his feet, and it changes the whole dynamics of the team. In terms of the confidence of the players able to then, you've got another outlet where you can pass the ball back and move it around much quicker because you can't do that with Nick Pope. I mean, when Nick Pope came in, we all saw, and people say otherwise, I don't buy it. We all saw that step up in quality as a goalkeeper. We didn't think we needed another goalkeeper at the time, if people remember. And we think, well, what do we need another keeper for? And then we saw Nick Pope pulling off all these saves and thinking, wow, that's something. But I'm not sure he's doing that now. I think since he's had the other injury, I'm not sure he's the same keeper. Whereas Dubravka has gone up a little bit because his kicking's great. He seems to be pretty much back to normal again now. But he's still not the long-term answer. I mean, it was probably proven a little bit yesterday. But
well, on Sunday, you mean, yeah.
Sunday, sorry. It's all become a bit of a blur at the minute. Yesterday. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but this is a pre-recorded show, Sid. You'll be confusing people. People at home will be going,
on Sunday.
What game's he on about now? He's had Bruno playing in the Carabao Cup. Now he's saying this. Yeah, but in the FA Cup on Sunday, yeah, I mean, that goal was, I mean, you watched it a couple of times and you thought, he could have probably done better for that. But there was an emotional outpouring by the supporters.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was sitting there thinking, I wasn't expecting that. That was really a surprise. And the whole ground joining in. I thought, right, fair dues, fair dues. I think it's because we've all seen, and I said this last week, we've all seen what the future is. We've all seen the future of a good goalkeeper with passing ability. Maybe he's not Dubravka per se as the main keeper next year, but we can now see what it's going to look like with somebody who comes in and we can suddenly, as I say, you can get the likes of Hall or whoever the right back may be, whether it's Trippier or not or whatever, or Livramento. You can just see they can pass it back quickly and we can move it on rather than it becomes the cumbersome under Pope. And also the fact that all of a sudden he looks like he's kicking with 2 left feet, and you're sort of panicking where he's going to put the ball. We don't have that. We don't have that with him. You know, he's a good, solid keeper with his feet. You know, and it changes the total style of the play. It really does. It means the players can push up a little bit further. So yeah, that's the way I see it. I'd keep him to the end of the season.
Were you surprised not to see, Vlachimidos get a game? Because ultimately, he is the third choice keeper. We saw, the last time we got to a Carabao Cup, Newcastle unfortunately ended up in that position where they had to use a goalkeeper that had never really kicked the ball in anger for Newcastle, or saved the ball in anger, whichever you want to say. But were you surprised not to see him get a run out against Bromley?
I felt quite sad for him, actually, because also Newcastle, I think, posted a picture of him before the match with the lineup. Well, but just before the lineup, they posted a picture of him with his sunglasses on and that, and I'm thinking, oh, well, he's obviously in goal today. And he didn't get the game. So I felt heartily sorry for him. He can't be a bad keeper. You can't play, I think it's about 200 times for Lisbon.
Yeah.
He played in the Champions League and played 40 times for Greece. You can't play that many times and be a bad goalkeeper. I just don't get it. And I said this last time as well. I know the Forest fans said he was terrible, but then we thought Matt Sells was terrible. And sometimes some workplaces just don't work for you, and that's just the way it works. Sometimes you don't fit, and you go somewhere else, and it's totally different, and it works. And that sometimes happens with footballers on occasion. People forget. For example, Dennis Bergkamp was a flop. I think he was at Inter Milan. He was a flop. And then he went to Arsenal and became one of the greatest players in the Premier League.
It can happen.
That can happen. That can happen in any position. Yes, goalkeepers are noticed more for mistakes, of course. But I feel sorry for the lad. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, looking at the game against Bromley, Newcastle, of course, winning by 3-1. Bromley scored early, bumped into quite a few of their supporters over the last few days, and they've had a great time. They've had a great time. One of the supporters, I was saying, how much do you think you've made from that cup run in total? He says probably around about £1 million, and he says that's going to go towards us. He says we're already getting a new stand built, and he says that's going to go, towards that. It's done us a world of good. And but the FA Cup, the powers that be once again trying to ruin it for me in a long way. I mean, the FA Cup started on Wednesday or Thursday last week, which is ludicrous in itself. But then scrapping replays, some people think it's a great idea, but I think it takes away that magic of the cup. Fair enough, scrap having 2, 3, 4 replays, that's ludicrous. But that chance of a Bromley or a Tamworth getting a draw at Newcastle or Spurs or whatever, and then going back home, taking them back to their pitch, it gives that's the romance of the cup. And to now just say right systematically it's straight to extra time and then replays, it's look at Tamworth against Spurs. Tamworth could have had a trip to Tottenham Hotspur's ground. They held them to a draw, and that's where the replay is beneficial for non-league clubs or lower league clubs, and it's another payday. So I just found I find it a bit. I find the FA Cup and the way that they've changed things a bit galling. But yeah, the Bromley fans loved it. Who out of the Newcastle team who isn't a regular player at the moment, who took their chance, Sid? Who impressed you?
My man of the match was Target. I thought he had a really good game. I'm surprised to say that, but he played really, really well. Yes, you take into consideration who he's playing against, but you can only do what you can in front of you. I thought he was very, very good. He was my man of the match. I thought Miley had a good first half. I thought he sort of dropped off in the second and was, I'll be honest, I didn't think he played very well in the second half, but I thought he played very well in the first half. The young lad I forgot, Asula, I thought played all right first half. I thought the second half, his goal was magnificent. It's lovely to see someone score like that, a young lad, and it lifts the crowd, and everyone was up and jumping because it was a fantastic finish. He absolutely thundered it. But I say Miley's first goal was breathtakingly good. He hammered it, and it went as straight as an arrow. It didn't deviate at all, just like a full-on rocket it went. So that was a great goal. Gordon came on, did really well, but of the others, many did not take their chance. I thought Miggy was terrible. I thought he was absolutely awful. For me, his time is done at Newcastle United was just rubbish. And I thought Longstaff was terrible, and I don't like to jump on his back, but he was really, really poor. It's too much time to think about what you're going to do with the ball. And then there was loads of opportunities when the lad made a run and nobody was passing, doing the, breaking the lines for the pass. And as soon as I was thinking, well, what am I doing? I'm doing the runs and nobody's giving us the ball. All changed when Bruno came on. And he was able to just dictate play and pass forward. I think that's what I was referring to before when I got mixed up with the bloody Arsenal.
Yeah.
And it was, he was just, so Bruno was a game changer along with Gordon, of course. Barnes was terrible. I know he's got an injury, so that's a mitigating factor. I'm happy to take that into consideration. But yeah, I was, the one I was disappointed with as well, Kelly. And I've been singing his praises.
I thought he was okay. I mean, you've got to take into consideration. Yeah, I mean, I've asked you the question, and it's interesting because I completely disagree with you on a few of those things. I thought Miley was good in the first half. I thought the second half he did peter off. Maybe it's down to lack of game time, and he's playing Bromley. Fitness shouldn't really be an issue. But I thought Target was poor compared to what I've normally seen of Target. Yeah, I didn't think Target was that great. And I thought Longstaff was. I didn't think he was poor. I just don't think he got in the game a great deal. And I thought when he did get in the game, sadly, he was misplacing passes, which is happening too often. He looked low on confidence, Sean Longstaff. I don't know whether it was just he didn't get himself up the game. There was something not right with him. I don't know what, but I thought Kelly was okay. And I think Kelly against Arsenal, I was over the moon at how I actually trusted him because I thought the substitutions were too early at Arsenal. I turned to me,
I thought that at the time,
and I went, wow. But then it was all down to the injury situation. People getting niggles, didn't want to injure anybody. But it was like El Alamo at times, and Kelly stood up to it. But I thought Kelly was okay. I thought he did okay. But it's such a difficult thing to do, chucking all those players together on the pitch and saying, go and get the result. And that was my biggest worry because you make so many changes, Sid, then obviously it's going to be like a team of strangers. And I know they train together all the time, but there's a big difference between training together and playing together. And I know you say, yeah, but it's it's Bromley, the lower league opposition, that just come into the league this season, and you should be doing that. But it's not that easy. And at no time Sunday, did I feel that I was panicking. Even when we went a goal down, I thought, well, we're going to get back into this and win it. But I'm interested to see what happens. But I agree with you. Asula definitely had one good half, one average half. Great goal, wonderful goal. Took that goal really well. But it's amazing how you always see different things. I thought Trippier was good. Yeah,
Trippier was good. I thought Target was excellent. I thought Longstaff. Honestly, I would be surprised if, and he's been a great servant, I'd be surprised if either Sean or Miggy are here in the summer.
Miggy didn't have a very good game at all.
Very surprised. He was terrible. We need to. It tells me that there's not a lot under the first 11. I mean, Sanusi came on and did all right for a young kid, but he's well short, obviously, at the moment, you would say.
Better than the friendlies. He wasn't as much of a headless chicken. He was thinking a bit more.
Yeah, but what I will say as well, of course, and I went with 1-0 beforehand. That was my prediction because I just thought I personally see it as it's hard to throw all those players in. It's like that point you made. It's exactly that. None of them have played regularly with each other, so you throw them in, it doesn't really work. So you're on mute, Steve.
It's because there's noise going on in the background here, so it's unfortunately sometimes you forget to press that button. Birmingham away then in the fourth round. How do you feel about the draw?
Yeah, great draw. I was in the Bacchus watching the draw after the match, and there was a huge cheer. We were all going, "Oh, let it be Birmingham!" And the massive cheer went up when we got them. It was a great atmosphere. We were not many, apart from Spurs and Villa. There was no big sort of clashes. I was hoping, you get Man City versus sort of one of the other bigger teams, Liverpool or something would be perfect, wouldn't it? There was no other big clash, but yeah, I'm happy with Birmingham. You should be able to go there and win. And if you don't, you got no excuses, I'm afraid. So I'm assuming that'll be TV based as well.
8th or 9th of February that game is, and
Yeah.
I would imagine Newcastle's game probably get moved to the Sunday.
Yes,
but yeah, I mean,
that would be playing against Arsenal.
Exactly, yeah. I think Newcastle's game will get moved to the Sunday. So, and of course, just looking ahead for those fans who are intending to travel, it's a nightmare on the trains that weekend. Lots of, bus replacement stuff and stuff like that. So I think there'll be a lot of people there, maybe driving down to that particular game. So yeah, the next round of the Carabao Cup, though, the next leg of the semi-final, doesn't take place for another few weeks. I mean, do you think that's gonna affect us? I mean, Arsenal, of course, got knocked out of the FA Cup on penalties by Manchester United. Now they've lost Jesus.
I think we need to learn from the last cup final and not just be grateful to be there. And we need to sort of turn it. We need to sort of stay on a run of winning games. Winning creates a winning sort of mentality. Whereas I felt now, in hindsight, that we turned up to Wembley grateful to be there. That's why I don't want to see all of this sort of let's pack round, sort of let's go around Trafalgar and all the rest of it before the game. Do it afterwards when we've won. Let's not celebrate just to be at Wembley. Let's make that a normal event. And let's do all the celebrating afterwards. And let's not sort of, see all the fans already spent by the time they've got to Wembley. Because I thought that's the way it felt to me. So I want to go with this winning mentality, keep on the run, and go there expecting to win. Even if it's Liverpool, I expect us to go on and win. And I don't see Arsenal scoring 3 goals against Newcastle at St James's Park. And I'm telling you now, Newcastle will score in the semi-final. Mm-hmm. So I don't see Arsenal getting 3 goals. So...
yeah, I agree.
If I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up. And if I'm wrong, then, serious words need to be had, I think is the phrase. Even if Arsenal score early, I still expect Newcastle to score.
Yeah. So. No, I agree. I mean, look, the one thing about Newcastle United season at the moment is until they sign that next striker, or unless they can get Callum Wilson firing on all cylinders again for this run, my biggest concern is that our season does still all hinge on Alexander Isak staying fit.
Wouldn't it be great for Wilson to score a winner in a final? That would be fab.
Well, I'm hoping for Murphy to get the winner in the final, because if you watch the fans forum on a Monday night, Darren has agreed to get a tattoo. If Jacob Murphy gets the winning goal, so we're all praying for a Murphy goal in the final. But yeah, I mean, Wilson's back on grass, which is great news, because ultimately, if he's back on grass, then he's not far away from a return, and he might just be coming back at the right time. And if they can get that level, get 10 games out of Wilson between now and the end of the season, I tell you what, people will fear that front line, because suddenly Howe's then got that option of doing Gordon on the left, Wilson in the middle, and Isak on the right. And I tell you what, not many teams would fancy that as an alternative. You could easily switch things around. And Howe's already proved in the last, on this winning streak of 8 games, he's already proved now that he's got different systems for different games. And it's almost as if he's learning on the job himself, because 2 banks of 5 at Arsenal was phenomenal to see.
Great,
nobody got that little clip of Miggy. But Miggy came onto the pitch and went 5-5. And you're thinking, wow, that's thinking outside the box. But hey, get Wilson back in the team as well, and in the squad. Newcastle's got something, But
he could also, theoretically, they could sell him.
I don't think they'll sell anybody massive. I just think this is going to be one of the quietest windows, Sid. I genuinely don't think Newcastle.
The finances, Steve. I watched one of the finance guys recently. I don't disagree.
Yeah, Kieran Maguire's podcast was interesting, but I follow that Swiss Ramble account on Twitter, and that breaks it down into layman's terms for you. And,
I saw the TalkSport guy do one, and he was he sort of did the same thing, and it wasn't very rosy, I think is the phrase I would use.
A big summer coming up, though. Huge summer. Newcastle, in the words of Alan Oliver, will have a war chest in the summer. So,
hopefully we'll get Socrates. So,
yes, that'll be good. Quick ad break, and then we'll bring Robin back after this. A big thanks to all our sponsors: Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Contact them at their website, skipsandbins.com, or email www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at mrvickies.co.uk. Email them info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. Travel and Tourism Award winners 2024. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges, all excursions included. Find them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. Their website is media-arts.co.uk. And we're also available as a podcast. You can find us on Sports Social, Podcast Network, iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel, then hit the subscribe button. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the thumb up that likes each video, and click share to share to your social media. Some Newcastle United events coming up. An evening with the entertainers, 24th of January 2025. Box office number is 0191 243 1171. Or website, Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. An evening with Lee Clark takes place on the 31st of January at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets are available on Voucher or from newcastlelegends.com. An afternoon with Celeste Ferdinand takes place on the 6th of April 2025, 12 p.m. till 4 p.m, and that's at the O2 City Hall in Newcastle. Tickets from www.ticketmaster.co.uk or from Voucher. And did you get a book voucher for Christmas? Then why not buy The Entertainers, 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy by Will Scott. Priced $18.99, also available from newcastlelegends.com. And it's welcome to Rob. How are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you, gentlemen?
Good to see you, Rob.
And you.
Good stuff. And as always, here's the album that Rob's not reviewing. It's called Mr. Poopsie, Whoopsie Poopsie. Just ring that bell. Wow. It must have been the 1970s BBC.
Looks like Hardcore Marks, doesn't it?
It's a real album.
Are those maracas in his hand, or is he just pleased to see it? Anyway, moving on. What are you bringing us in?
This week I put a suggestion out there, a choice of 3 albums, and Marcus was first to jump in with The Cult's Love. So I've got 2 versions, the black one and the ruby red one. Released on Beggar's Banquet, 1985. Absolutely great album. But again, I was looking into it as drummers. It's like Spinal Tap, the amount of drummers on this album. You had Nigel Preston, who was, he didn't make the video to She Sells Sanctuary because he was unavailable, and I know why. And then you had Les Warner, and then you had Matt Sorum, of Guns and Posers. And Mark Brzezicki from Big Country as well. So 4 drummers. But opening with Nirvana, absolutely brilliant opener. Solid, really pounding drums. Bass by Jamie Stewart. Jamie Stewart on bass guitar is outstanding, and I do know Jamie did join them from the recent Death Cult tour. He'd done a few songs, Resurrection Joe, and some couple of songs from Dreamtime album, their debut album, which is unbelievable. I Can't See Past Dreamtime and Love. That's it for me for the cult. So yeah, great. Billy Duffy's guitar on this, texture and the delay, the reverb, the guitar on it is brilliant. It's a 10 out of 10 opener. You've got big neon glitter, again, digital delay, pedal effects, Billy Duffy again, very, very good howling vocals by Ian Astbury again. It's just brilliant. The alternative tom work on this by Nigel Preston, it's just brilliant. A massive influence. That style of drumming, a lot of Tom Rack work. I just love it. And it's a great song. Then you've got Love. This is sort of like Ian preaching love, not war. It's not a political thing, but it's quite a psychedelic track. This one again, brilliant, strong track again. It's just perfect. The production, the feel about it, the warmth about it, every song. Then you've got Brother Wolf and Sister Moon. This is, I'd say, it was the Cult's first ballad. Edie, Ciao Baby. Great song. It's sort of got a thick and dense feel to it. It's quite emotional, actually. Nice 12-string guitaring by Billy Duffy. Again, it's sort of like a Native American sort of feel to it, like influenced by Ian Astbury. His nickname is Tonto, in the Native American thing. And you've got that album called Electric, like Wolfchild, Moonchild, and that sort of stuff, the Native American sort of side of things influence. Then you've got Rain. This is a timeless classic. It was a big hit at the time, massively popular when they tour, memorable. It's just one of those memorable songs. It's about Ian using rain as a backdrop to a love he had with a previous partner. Again, even the subtle tambourine during this album in parts, it's really good. Just pick up on it. It's just adds to it. They've got side 2, The Phoenix. We've covered this song. Great song. Stunning song, actually. I love the wah-wah effect on this. I really love that effect. To me, it's just an out-and-out guitar song. The whole song is just drums, bass, and just basically a guitar solo through the whole thing, but not overdone, not in your face, but it's just sublime. You got Hollow Man. A lot of people think this is quite a weak song, but I really like it. And I have heard
Great
a lot
song.
of early, I have heard a lot of early demos of it, even the early stuff before this version that was finished in the album. The original recording of it the demo of it is outstanding. It's sort of like got a Wild Western feel to it a little bit. Nice jangly guitar again by Billy Duffy. Again, sublime bass and drums. It's pretty perfect for me. I love that song. We've got Revolution. Again, this is another single, a nice mid-tempo, sort of like a dreamy, psychedelic sort of imagery again. If you remember the video to that, the girl dancers that sort of remind me of Strawberry Switchblade. It's Ian Astbury again shouting about wanting a revolution. You never know what's around the corner. Then you've got She Sells Sanctuary. I think this was the biggest known hit. It's strange using words like hit with sort of like subculture bands, that side of it. Again, if you just listen to the guitar intro, how many guitar effects is Billy Duffy using on that? It's about 10. Again, pounding solid in your face, and this is an all-time classic song. It's massive and it still stands the test of time now. And for me, this is my favourite song of the album. I mean, to me, it compares to Hollow Man, Black Angel. It's just brilliant. I love the words. It's a long way to go, Black Angel by your side. I just adore this song. It's really moody, really atmospheric. It's dark. To me, it's goth perfection. That song is. I've not heard it for a while, but it's just the mood, the atmosphere about it, and that's what that side of the subculture bands I like is all about. Is about the atmosphere. So it is getting a 9 out of 10 for me. I love listening to it again. There's not a weak song on it. 9 out of 10, like I say. I mean, highlights: Big Neon Glitter, Hollow Man, and Black Angel. And talking of other cult stuff, I think highly recommend this one. It was just labelled the Cult.
Just good album.
Yeah. It's very. I think Astbury was singing with the Doors around about that time.
Yes, it was.
But, yeah. It's a great album.
I'm going
it's
to
just
add that.
different.
I'm going to add one of them to my album list this week.
Well,
So I will listen to one of them this week.
well, I
Yeah.
would add that my favourite cult album actually is Choice of Weapon, which came out
Okay.
in 2012, and it's brilliant. It's almost like a mix between the Pistols, David
Mm.
Bowie.
Choice of Weapon, right? I'll listen to that this week, Sid.
It's a cracking album. It's a really great album, really rocky but brilliant.
Yeah.
And I saw them on that tour. I've seen them a number of times. They're great live, but Love's a fantastic album.
Yeah.
And what was interesting, they gave out, I think it was last week, they gave out an indication that they're going to tour the album again this year.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So 40th anniversary. So
Yeah.
look forward to that.
I was
Great
at the
band.
original one. I was at the original one at Edinburgh Playhouse '85. I went to the 30th anniversary one, Picture House at Lothian Road in Edinburgh. So yeah, there you go. There's another opportunity. But
I used to have a video. I don't know if you remember the TV show Bliss.
yeah. I've
used to
got
have
that
a
on DVD.
Yeah, so I had that concert on video. Like, you know, it's a great gig.
I've still got it. And another thing as well, Sid, I don't know if you've heard, but I can't. I'll just say I really dislike Electric album. It went too American for me. But see if you ever get the chance to listen to the Soundhouse tapes. It was the demos. They should have released that. This
I
album.
haven't heard them.
The Soundhouse tapes.
I'll check that out.
It's called the Soundhouse tapes. That's what
It's
it's
on
called.
YouTube or something on it, so I'll check it out.
For better versions for me anyway.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Great
Good
choice,
stuff,
great
okay.
album. Love it. Pardon the pun.
What have you brought for us this week then, Sid?
Right, well, since we're in sort of rather depressing and sort of dank times in terms of the weather, I thought I'd bring a little bit of sunshine, and I thought I'd bring a bit of the Wailers. It's Bob Marley and the Wailers. It's the Wailers Catch a Fire album. So this is the second sleeve with suddenly they changed the name to Bob Marley and the Wailers for some bizarre reason. I think it's the Wailers must have split up at the time they released the cover. This is the original sleeve when they were just the Wailers, and you used to open it up and it was a lighter, and so you had the lighter on the inside there. You know, it had a little flame inside.
Like a Zippo.
Yeah, so you'd open it up and there was an inside flame where the fires come, and it was very expensive now if you find that. On Ireland, it was the first Ireland album, but it was their 5th studio album. So they started off as like a ska band, and then they basically sort of helped invent the genre. And I don't think there's anybody who defines a genre more than Bob Marley. You know, because you might argue Miles Davis might do it a bit with jazz, but I think Bob Marley defines the reggae genre more than anybody else. He just dominates it, doesn't he? He's like a colossal. But it's a superb album. It features the great lineup for me of Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, who was the other songwriter, along with Bunny Wailer, also a great songwriter. You then got the brothers. You got Aston Family Man Barrett. I think that's a great name on the bass player. What a musician he is. And then his brother, Carlton Carly Barrett, on drums. What a drummer he is. So you got one of the greatest rhythm sections of all time in terms of the band. Those two are just sensational. It does also have Robbie Shakespeare on bass on one song. So the album's incredible. So this is the first time that signed for Ireland, and Chris Blackwell, the leader of Ireland, the owner of Ireland, in fact, he decided to sort of make them a bit more westernized in terms of an album so that it would catch on to the Western market, because the Wailers weren't big at all at this point outside of Jamaica. So he hired Wayne Perkins, who was a country rock guitarist. In fact, he auditioned for the Stones, done a couple of Stones tracks. Great. He does a bit of slide on the open, and that's amazing. You got Rabbit Bundrick from Free and the Who on keyboards. And as I say, you got Robbie Shakespeare and others. So they've really westernized it a little bit, but it's still an incredible album. So there's a deluxe version, and you can buy it. And what it's got, you've got the Jamaican version and you've got the westernized version, and they're both great. In fact, the Jamaican's got an extra track. But you've got some stellar tracks on there. Concrete Jungle, about the life and poverty that they had in Jamaica, and it was extreme poverty. It's just brilliant. And of course, the Specials nicked the title to create a great song. We've got Slave Driver, which is, again, I think it tells you everything you need to know with regards to the theme, of course. It is magnificent. It's about allegedly being free, but not free from poverty. And what can I also add? The Wailers' vocals is a harmony group, or up there with any of the great soul acts. They're beautiful. Peter Tosh with this high falsetto, and they've got the 3 voices, really rich, and then you've got the 2 women singing with them as well, Rita Marley and Marcia Griffiths. what a harmony ensemble they are. They're sensational. It's not what you imagine. It's almost like reggae and soul mixed together. You've got 400 Years, which is about slavery, the physical slavery, mental slavery. Peter Tosh's song, and he's great. He also sings Stop That Train, which is basically a hymn. It's like a hymn. It could easily be sung in a church, and it's brilliant. We've then got Baby We Got a Date, which has got a cool slide feel to it. Stir It Up, which is basically inventing love as rock. That sort of, love reggae sort of genre. We've got Kinky Reggae, which has got an ambiguous meaning. It could be about sex. It could be about taking hard drugs. If you look at the lyrics, there's the real sort of, we're really unsure. And then you've got No More Trouble, promotes peace and love. And then we've got the weird track at the end, which is very good, Midnight Ravers. Some might say it's a misogynist song. It easily could be. But others might say it's about the blurring of gender lines. And so it's difficult to work out, but it's great. It's an incredible album. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. The Wailers, Bob Marley and the Wailers, whatever. Absolutely fantastic. I think they've got about 5 absolute stone cold killer albums. I really do. We did a show on them as well, and we had different number ones. So that was interesting. There's a couple of great albums that I'd never listened to for years, like Survival, which is great, and Uprising is a sensational album. So go and check them out. They are all great albums, top-notch albums. The 5 big ones anyway, as I would say. So that was with Jeremy from New York. And then finally, instead of a TV show, I've gone down the film route, and I've gone Stalag 17. Some might argue it's a Christmas film because it's set at Christmas time. But of course, it was released in 1953, made in 1952, so literally 7 years after the war. Most of the cast of this film served in World War II, so it must have been a bit strange doing a film about the war. It's set in a sort of a camp, if you like, for prisoner of war camp, and most of it's set in one set of barracks, but then there are other groups involved. It's brilliant. We've got the character Seft in there, played by the brilliant William Holden. Again, he's an anti-hero. He's a bit of a spiv, a wheeler dealer in the barracks. He buys and sells stuff like alcohol and cigarettes and all the rest of it, and deals with the guards as well. So he's unpopular. He's not liked within the camp. They think he's a spy. A number of the people within that barrack is killed by the Nazis. They think he's the spy. He gets beaten up for it. But then he works out who the real spy is. And it's brilliant. It's really dark. It's funny. It's dark. It touches upon PTSD as well, which for 1952-53 is remarkable, really. So it really does deal with that in a sort of tender way as well. Really, really tender way. It's got themes of loneliness in it. Got themes of class as well. What an absolute film. Holden won the Oscar for it. Was nominated for Best Film of the Year. It probably is my favorite war film, if you're into all that sort of stuff. It's absolutely that. I love Where Eagles Dare, but there you have it. But it's absolutely broadcast. So I call him Danny Boy. It's brilliant. Right. It's absolutely top film. So go out and check it out. Really great film.
I am doing the album challenge, lads. So, I'm doing an album a day. I had some great suggestions this week. First up was this one, King Crimson's album, In the Court of the Crimson King. Leslie St. John from After St. Pet fame suggested this one. It you know what? Gives you an insight into what people actually listen to as well.
Yeah, it's quite unusual. I would never have picked her to have picked that.
Nah, she loves it. I liked Epitaph on there and 21st Century Schizoid Man. But I tell you what, it's opening up a whole new meaning to music for me. I had listened to John Mellencamp before, but I'd never listened to this album. Life, Death, Love, and Freedom was a suggestion by Sid. Really enjoyed it. Standout tracks for me were Troubled Land, Young Without Lovers, and Without a Shot. Good shout, that. Really enjoyed that one. And I think because I'd listened to him before, it did help. Some of the youngsters that I have in my house suggested this one. I'm wide open for different types of music. There's a lot of swearing in this, which I think ultimately could put some people off. But Kendrick Lamar and Overly Dedicated is not for your granny. I liked Wire, Alien Girl, and the Michael Jordan song. Something tells us that he might have had a little bit of beef with Michael Jordan before he wrote that particular song. If you read it, I am being quite polite. This is a family show. Now, it's such a wonder. I never actually had listened to Asbury Park.
Wow.
I'd listened to a lot of Springsteen albums, but I hadn't listened to this all the way through. So Greetings from Asbury Park by Bruce Springsteen was my 10th album of my challenge in 2025. Blinded by the Light, Lost in the Flood, and Spirit in the Night were songs that I particularly liked on that one.
Good album. It's not truly great. Have you heard his second one, Wild the Innocent, the A Street Shuffle?
Yes, I've heard that one.
That's in my top 3 Springsteen albums. I think it's amazing.
The only remit is that I've got to pick out albums that I've not listened to all the way through. So Joe Allen's suggestion was this one, U2 Live, Under a Blood Red Sky. Again, listened to lots of U2. Never listened to the live album. The fact that Joe, when we were out for a walk the other day, was reciting some of Bono's lines tells you how many times Joe's listened to this.
Brilliant.
But 1983, released in 1983, there's Sunday Bloody Sunday, New Year's Day, brilliant, and I Will Follow. Three great live tracks on there as well. Another person who my dad got me into was Warren Zevon. Back in the day, I remember listening to him on car trips and that. I definitely hadn't listened to Sentimental Hygiene, although there was a couple of songs on there that I had listened to in the past. But the Sentimental Hygiene track on the album is really, really good. Boom Boom Mancini was really good as well. And Bad Karma, the lyrics to Bad Karma, absolutely brilliant. But nice to re-engage with Robert, with Warren Zevon again. The last one that I've got for this week was Dave Beanie's suggestion, who does the Blake 7 podcast with us. And it was Robert Palmer and Clues. And I've got to be honest, I'm not a huge Palmer fan.
It's all right. Mary's on it, isn't it?
Yeah, I like Salty Girl. I like Johnny and Mary, of course, which I think is probably quite a commercial track. I probably feel that there's better Robert Plant albums out there for me to listen to. So I may go back and listen to a Robert Plant album in the future. But that is my album. That is my album that I've listened to this week. So it's nice to be able to contribute to the bit of music.
Yeah, Palmer's he was a local lad, Robert Palmer, as well, isn't he? He's from sort of Borough, Stockton area, somewhere like it was. He died very young.
Yeah, that was the other thing Dave said, that Robert Palmer died really young. So, good stuff. Today as well, we are going to play out with Lilac Lane. I've played you a couple of their tracks from the Clooney gig. We're going to play out with another one of their original tracks when we finish the show today, Still Thinking of You. But, Rob, great stuff, mate. As always, thank you for coming on and getting us into a different direction, and hopefully touch base with you next week, mate.
Thank you. And put your comments and suggestions down for me. I will pick them up and I'll pick what is thrown at me.
Great stuff, mate. Have a good week, Rob. Take care.
Will do. Thanks,
Take care, man. Look after yourself.
Okay, time to look ahead to Newcastle United's next fixture. And as this is a pre-recorded show, we'll get it right. It's tonight. And Newcastle United take on Wolves in the Premier League. And it is a 7:30 kickoff, and it is live on TNT Sports. Newcastle will be looking to record their second Premier League win, double of the season, after taking 6 points off Spurs, of course, already. No team news when we were pre-recording this, but we do know that Matheus Cunha will be available following suspension. Vitor Pereira has replaced Gary O'Neill since Newcastle's 2-1 win at Molineux, and the much-travelled Portuguese manager losing just one of his first 5 games, taking 9 points from a possible 30 away from home so far. The 22 goals Wolves have conceded on the road is the second worst total in the division, exceeded only by 27, of course, that Leicester have shipped. Referee news, well, Darren England was appointed. It's his second appearance of the season. He took charge of the 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. And on VAR is Graham Scott. 7:30 kickoff, remember, folks, if you are going to this game.
What a stupid time.
Tonight.
Stupid time.
It is, so if you're watching this show, by the time it finishes, you've got half an hour to get to the ground. Okay, so what's your feelings about this, mate? Are you concerned?
No, not at all. I'm going to put it out there. I think we'll get beat once by the end of the season. There we go. I'm that confident at the minute. If Isaac stays fit.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
On that on that, and Isaac and Tonali, it all bounds down to them to me. What a spine we have at the minute. What a spine. But yeah, I'm not panicked at all. I think they're not a bad team, actually. I think they've got a very good manager now. They're suddenly playing as a team, which I think tells you a lot about what their attitude towards the previous manager was. I really rate Kunas, is that what they call him?
Yeah, he's back from suspension, yeah.
I would have him at Newcastle. However, may I add that I thought his attitude and behaviour towards the other opposition guy was appalling the other week with the glasses. I think he should have got a much, much longer ban. I think he should have been given a 10-game ban for ripping the guy's glasses off. I thought it was appalling behaviour. Just unwarranted. I have no problem with having a beef with another player, but some guy who's the physio or something who didn't do anything wrong, I thought that was atrocious. I really do. But he's a player I like, wheeling me way back in there. He's a guy I do like. I think he's a super, super player, and I think he'll cause us problems. I think it's going to be a high scorer. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think they'll go back to the standard team, of course. We all know the team. We can all literally pick it. And the only discussion is who plays at right back. That's the only discussion I think we have at the minute. Who's your right back going to be for the week? And I think it should be horses for courses. If we're up against a quick winger, then you play Tino. And if you're up against a slightly slower team, then you play Trippier for his experience in terms of what he brings going forward. Because as good as Livermore has been at times, he doesn't offer enough going forward for me at the moment. His crossing's terrible. He needs to just work on that aspect of his game. But he's just a young man, and he's still a good player. So don't feel that I'm sort of slating him, because I'm not. It's just something he needs to build on, And whereas Lewis Hall is the complete package to me. He looks just sensational. He's average paced, but he's got everything and he reads the game well. What a player he is. So yeah, for me, it's just the right back. That's literally it. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, and I'm going for 3-2.
All right,
I think there's going to be a lot of goals in it. They're not as bad a team as people make them out to be, and I think recent form suggests that as well.
Looking ahead to the weekend, Newcastle take on Bournemouth at home, 12:30 kickoff, live on TNT Sports again. Andoni Irola's squad have been affected by injuries to forward Dua Evan-Nielsen and Enes Unal, sidelined both for some time. Bournemouth have recalled former Sheffield United striker Daniel Jebison from his loan at Watford. Ahead of their trip to Tyneside, Bournemouth will be taking on Chelsea. Or will have taken on Chelsea last night, pre-recorded show, so we won't be able to tell you what the result was of that. But if they've avoided defeat at Stamford Bridge, it would extend their unbeaten run in the League and Cup match to an impressive 10. So another team that was struggling, who were, last season, but have done quite well this season. They seem to be creating lots of own personal records. I think Bournemouth's quite a tough test as well. But again, it depends how we've done against Wolves on how we approach that game. But feelings about the Bournemouth game and in a quick prediction.
They're a good team, and again, they've got a very good forward-thinking manager. They've really exceeded all forms of expectations. I think Semenyo on the wing, magic. What a player he is. Again, goals. I think we'll flip the scoreline in terms of we got beat 4-1. I think it'll be the other way around on Saturday. That's what I'm going with.
That's what I like. It's a confidence, Sid, we've got on Talk of the Team today. Thank you very much, Sid. As always, I did mention earlier we're going to play out with Still Thinking of You by Lilac Lane. Me and Sid will be back next week. Enjoy the match tonight. Take care, everybody.
Take care, folks.
Close you on the bedroom floor, TNT sign on the door. Don't even trust what's in my mind, cause I know it always ends up in a fight. When I get myself into a hole, wanna be swallowed by the floor. And it's not your name I see on the phone. Fuck this feeling of being alone. And I need you to understand voices running around my brain. It's enough to make your grown mind insane. I know that I'm still thinking of you. Start an argument in the mirror. Somebody help me see life clearer. I'm not looked, so I'll be down. Can I not be the runaway man? I took a class in a